Hedges Night Series match. He's taken 39 wickets and his run rate is under 4, so he's done a pretty good job. His best bowling was 4 for 13 against Impalas. He doesn't start very well on this occasion.
Gisterand het ons in 'n tal geleedere vir Pryk sien bal wat van die verkeerde voet af bal. En Rayment wat ook 'n soortgelyke aksie het, meer soos die van Mike Proctor van vroeër jare. Pryk wat heeltemal meer orthodox was, onorthodox.
One thing Rayment can do is swing the ball around in the air. And that brings up the 50. The lights have just started to come on. So 50 coming up in the 23rd over.
Rayment wat nog sukkel om sy lengte te vind, in teenstelling met die meeste van die ander Oos-provinsie bowlers wat dadelik die merkie gevind het.
And that will take the players to the drinks break. 23 overs bowled.
Can't help feeling that Nosworthy should have had a good whack at that. It certainly had the width on it. All he tried to do was guide it.
And just one of the overs, the score at the end of the 25th over is ordered 52 for 4, the run rate of 2,8. There are now 20 overs left of the 4 innings.
25 overs now bowled of the allotted 45, and whereas the run rate was beginning to pick up between the 15th and 20th overs at 3,2 on average, it's now slipped back to 1,8, and it's reduced the overall average to 2,08. Tim Shaw has just been tucked away down to deep backward point position. 2 runs for Nosworthy. Be able to get 2 here as 2 men converge on it. Bryson from third man and Am from cover point position. Bryson gets there first, but 2 to Nosworthy. Nosworthy beginning to bat with a little more confidence now.
Spoken to 1 or 2 of the umpires this year, Trevor, and they've been instructed to come into line with the way the rest of the world are working on limited over wides. I'll expand on that after this delivery. Stifled appeal for Rayment. I think there was a little bit of bat on that. They've decided that if the ball is bowled down the leg side without the batsman actually walking inside it, in other words, if it was always going to go down there had the batsman stayed exactly the same, then they're going to call it a wide.
That's one of the most aggressive shots that he has played. Unfortunately, Baptiste is there on the boundary, and some good hard running gets them 2 runs. So with a beautiful view of the golf course in the background, the border scorecard, which is certainly improving from 19 for 4 to 63 for 4. So this partnership by far the most productive. Lawson now 22, but Nosworthy has very nearly caught him up. And Lawson's been there for the full 27 overs. Tim Shaw continues to Nosworthy. He uses his feet nicely, but Bryson comes in from mid-wicket to restrict him. All Rayment. Paul Rayment with the next over. Well, there we are now. At last, what Robin Jackman was talking about. Something has to happen. A bit of aggression needs to be shown, and suddenly Lawson comes out of his shell and hammers Rayment back over his head for 4. And that brings up the 50 partnership. And it boosts Lawson to 26. 21 to Nosworthy. And one more to Lawson. So 70 on the board now for 4. Peter Kirsten won the toss and decided to bat. And a disastrous start with 4 wickets falling for 19 runs. But 51 put on now in 69 minutes by Lawson and Nosworthy. But unfortunately, the overs have drifted by, and 29 of the 45 overs have now been bowled.
Paul Rayment over pitching and giving him just a little bit of width, full follow through the bat.
That too, he shaped to play on the offside, but ended up going through mid-wicket. Too much right hand, bottom hand. Now Kepler Wessels decides to drop a man onto the mid-wicket boundary, sensing that Nosworthy is about to cut loose. And and maybe it was all planned with the slower ball being bowled by Rayment, but he saw it early and just stroked it out into the covers.
It's good captaincy, Trevor. You know, too often captains feel that they have a side in trouble, which Border certainly are, and they forget the basics. And the basics are that after 4 balls have gone by, especially if they've been what they call in the trade dot balls, i.e. they haven't been scored off, still time to move people back and make sure 4s aren't hit towards the end of the over.
Nosworthy backing main pavilion end, and Rayment, I wonder if McCurdy going to Natal and Maguire deciding not to come to South Africa prompted him to come back from Cape Town to Port Elizabeth. $104 for 5. Howell has strike, 4 against his name. Rayment the bowler.
Dit is baie moeilik vir hom om inswaiers die linkerhander te bal met sy aksie. Die bal sal altyd die linkerhander verlaat. Daai een was bietjie kort geplant en kon Howell 'n kaphou uitvoer.
That's well played by Ian Howell. A good bit of fielding too, mind you, on the boundary, and so 2 runs.
Rayment sal moet versigtig wees om nie die balle kort te plant nie, want soos ek gesê het, hy kan hom met die swaai saam afstuur na die grens.
At when he over pitches, the same fielder comes into action down on the boundary for the BAM. And the whole field has to change for the right-hander. Heel for LBW, but he slants them in mostly to the right-hander. I was going to go down the leg side, so leg by signalled.
Baie riskante hou uitgevoer deur hom, maar dis wat van hom verwag word op hierdie stadium. En soos Trevor reg opgemerk, die bal wat die bypen met 'n goeie 9 duim sou gemis het.
Good strong hit by Howell, and it brings in 4 runs because there's no man at long on. There is one at long off. Well, I must say I've been rather impressed with Howell. From the moment he's come in, he's hit the ball cleanly, and he's scored off virtually every ball he's faced. That's his first boundary. He's already on 11. It's a bit full, and he hits it safely into the covers. They're racing for the second, and they get it. There's a gap in the covers, and he hit it in that gap in the air, but safely enough. So a pretty productive over, and Paul Rayment is the one bowler that is taking a bit of punishment. 10 runs came from that over. Rayment to Dave Nosworthy. Trying to flick that one away on the onside. Did he get bat to it? Yes, indeed. He just got a little scratch on it. And so, no leg by, a run, and Dave Nosworthy gets his first 50 in Benson Hedges Night Series cricket. He's only come into the competition this season. His previous best was 23 not out against Free State. He's played in all 5 matches for Border this season in the B&H, and he hit 3 fours facing 83 balls. That's a magnificent shot, Mahal, backing away to square, giving himself room and hitting that very hard through the covers. But again, the man on the boundary cleans up. 2 more. Bowled him. Paul Rayment does bowl a pretty useful slower ball, and he just held that one back a little bit, and Howell, trying to force the pace, was early with the shot and had his stumps trimmed.
Baie goeie stadiger bal. Goed beskryf deur Trevor Cook. Probeer die bal slaan baie te vroeg. Kop omhoog, en hy het nog genoeg tyd gehad om te draai en te sien hoe sy bypen ontwortel word. 1 hel dan 20 lopies, gebal deur Rayment. 21 minute gekol, 15 balle ontvang, 1 grenshou, maar 'n baie goeie waardevolle beurt van 1 hel.
Well, it was a valuable little innings by Ian Howell, and I must say he hit the ball so cleanly. The new batsman is Mike van Vieren, Fires as they call him, and he's been around a long time. Both Mike de Villiers and I played against him when he was playing for Eastern Province, opening the bowling for them, as he does indeed with Kenny Watson for his new province Border. And he can hit. Remember the day that he smashed Eddie Barlow all over the place to pull a match out of the fire for Eastern Province.
Mike van Vieren baie beslis bekend daarvoor dat hy die bal geweldig hard kan slaan. Maar so teen die einde van die beurt is baie kolwers geneig om die bal te hard wil slaan, eerder as om net te wag dat die bal kom en dan 'n goeie hou uit te voer.
It's an indication of the sort of shots he plays.
Want Trevor, is baie belangrik dat jou tydsberekening korrek moet wees. Jy hoef nie 'n bal baie hard te slaan om 'n 4 of 6 te slaan nie. As jou tydsberekening korrek is en jy gebruik die vaart van die bal, dan kan jy baie makliker lopies aanteken as om bal daarna te swaai.
So 5 overs remaining, and at last the Border innings has got the sort of injection it required, with runs coming in the last 5 overs on average at 6,8, and that has boosted the overall rate to 3,13. Now Rudy Bryson returns to the action after a good...
Die verlies van 6 paaltjies met Dave Nosworthy 51. Sy telling groei dan nou aan na 52. Mike van Vieren nog 2, groot totaal 128. goeie balwerk vir Rayment op die oomblik. Bal die balle baie vol, beweeg in na Mike van Vieren en hy sou hom graag net 'n bietjie korter wil hê sodat hy hom kan omtrek na die bykant.
Bit of a fumble from Rushmere, but still only one run. Again, Rushmere doesn't pick it up cleanly. .130 for 6. Rayment bowling much better in this over because he's keeping it right up to the batsman in the block hole. And when the batsmen are looking for runs, that's the best place to bowl. Again, there's a man well placed on the boundary to restrict the batsman to a single. So just 3 overs remaining now. 130. Steve Palfreyman, the wicket keeper, is the new batsman. Run for Brendan Fourie, who crossed over while that ball was in the air when Van Vieren was caught. And Palfreyman making his debut in Benson Hedges Night Series cricket this season. Appeal for LBW, but the big in swinger of Rayment doesn't allow him to get that many LBWs. Umpire Liebenberg decided that there was a bit of bat on that, so Palfreyman is credited with a run. Each batsman has 1.
Volbal afgestuur deur Rayment, nie goed bygekom deur Fourie nie. Speel hom direk na Kepler Wessels.
And he's bowled the good Yorker from Rayment. That's just where you've got to bowl them when they're trying to have a go at you, right up in the block hole, and it hit the leg stump.
Streepbal afgestuur, probeer hom omdraai na die bykant toe en word gebal tussen die gaping van die beenskit en die kop.
So only 3 balls faced by Fourie, just the 1 run, and Border now close to being bowled out.
Hy weer aan na streepbal afgestuur, hy laat daai gapings en probeer omdraai na die bykant toe, die beenpen wat ontwortel word en die einde van Fourie.
The last batsman, fast bowler Kenny Watson, and he really has been around a long time, Kenny. But he can also, like Mike van Vieren, hit the ball pretty hard. Has a top score of 31 made against Western Province in Benson Hedges Night Series cricket. This is his 53rd match that he's playing, formerly, of course, of Eastern Province. And I do recall that he made 99 in a Currie Cup match. too bad a shot to start with. He's going to go for the second, and he's going to have to hurry. But the throw to the bowler's end, and Palfreman in the end was the man who had to scoot. Overs to put on those runs. Lawson eventually out for 29 after well over 2 hours at the wicket, and Nosworthy going on to make his first 50 in Benson and Hedges Night Series cricket. And a fine innings it was too. He too batted for just over 2 hours. Howell came in and struck the ball very cleanly indeed for a rapid 20, but there wasn't much more to offer, and at the end of the 45 overs, Border 154 for 9, a disappointing batting effort, and one which shouldn't prove too much of a problem for the powerful Eastern Province batting lineup. From his 9 overs, his best ever bowling performance. Baptiste was a little bit on the expensive side, as was Paul Rayment, but Rayment picked up 3 wickets towards the end. Tim Shaw, the left-arm spinner, as economical as ever, just conceding 16 runs from his 9 overs. So it was always a slow innings from Border, and only when they got to the 35th over did things start accelerating to their satisfaction. 6.8 runs on average coming between the 35th and 40th overs, and then 5.
Next batsman is Paul Rayment. He's also fairly capable. He's no fool. It's just the circumstances make it very difficult for him.
Back in the Eastern Province.